Hey, welcome back, folks, to Max Nave Horsemanship and Baby Steps. And, I think I'm going to probably start uploading 2 videos a week instead of 1 because of the fact that, well, they're getting so short now because I don't have a lot new to show you anymore because we've already done most of the new things. And now it's just a case of doing the same things over and over and over. And I've talked about this many times. It's important to keep doing things until they get super good. And, well, I'm going to also talk about something else. I can't really demonstrate, but when to do something about your horse, when it misbehaves or does something. Well, a perfect example of that one, which crossed my mind, was my own horse. It's over on the other side of the fence over there. And every once in a while she whinnies, and, well, I know why she's doing it. But there's not much I can do about it because being out here, especially with this horse, I'd have to put this horse back, then go over there, by which time it's way too late to do anything. I can't do a thing if I'm on the other side of the fence. I have to go on that side of the fence and be right beside her to be able to do something. I have to take something with me, like my flag or something, in order to correct her. All this stuff. So unless you're in a position where you can very quickly and easily do something, the best thing to do is just ignore it. No matter what they're doing, is just ignore it. And, well, that's basically what I do. Every time she whinnies for the other horses, which she's inclined to do, I just ignore her. And you will quite often hear in the background of my videos a horse whinnying. Well, that's what you're hearing. You're hearing my own horse doing that. She doesn't do it a lot, but she does do it some because, well, she's in a separate pen for dietary reasons, and she doesn't much care for that and wants to be with the other horses, so she's always calling out to them. She does that a fair bit. This is something that's not normal for her, is being segregated, but like I said, due to dietary reasons, we have to. Now, back to the little one here, because that's what this is all about. What have we been doing? Same things you've seen before. Move her this way, move her that way, back her up, have her come, pick up her feet a lot. Because I think this weekend we're going to trim her. Because we've been picking her feet up and she's getting pretty good about it. And last time I was working with her, I even put the hoof stand down and let her sniff at it. She didn't seem concerned about it. Picked up a foot and put it on it. She wasn't too concerned about that either. So I think we're getting there. We're definitely getting there. But I'm going to show you something else today when it comes to picking up the feet. I had mentioned before that the front ones, they're pretty safe. And as long as you stay in the right place, they're pretty safe. You don't have to worry. But the back ones, they're a little more dicey. But I'm going to explain what you have to do. Well, actually, I'm going to show you what you need to do to keep yourself safe when you pick up a back foot. And this particular thing I've never done before with her, so I'm not quite sure how she's going to react. So this is going to be another first you're going to get to see. And, like I said, the front one she's getting really good with. Doesn't hesitate to let me pick them up. Doesn't fuss or nothing. I just, like I said before, I slide my head down the leg and just pick up a foot. There you go. Easy as that. A lot of horses that aren't that good. My personal experience, though, has been that the front ones are usually not too bad. The back ones are the ones you might have more trouble with. And I came up with a theory on that, well, a number of farriers I've talked to disagree with me on, but makes sense to me because on a horse, the front legs hold the body up. They really don't do much other than that. The back ones are the ones that propel them forward. That's their propulsion end. And so they seem to be a little more concerned when you've got a hold of one of them than the front one. Front ones aren't such a big deal. And with every horse I've ever handled, that has been the case. It's always been much better on the front than the back. But some farriers say otherwise, and well, I can't say that. Those guys, a lot of them have had far more experience with far more different horses than I have, so maybe that is true. I don't know. All I know is my experience is that I have less trouble with the front than the back. And like I said, a theory is an unproven idea, and that's what this is. I don't have proof. It's just a theory. But my theory is that they aren't as concerned about the front ones because they aren't as critical. They can actually run on 3 legs if they have to. But the back end that propels them forward, that's where all the power is. Those are the ones that they're a little more hesitant to have captured by something, someone, whatever, you know what I mean. You know, so that's just my theory and that's my personal experience. But I'm going to show you a way to pick up the back feet that is significantly safer when you get to that point where you have to start picking them up to clean them or trim them or whatever you're going to do. There is a way to do it that can certainly make your life a little better. Kind of captures the hoof for you and keeps you out of harm's way, or at least significantly less. And I'm going to explain it a little bit, then I'm going to demonstrate it. And I'm not sure which I should do first, because I'm just going to back a little bit further away from the camera here, and then I'm going to show you first and then talk about it and explain how it works. Because I want to make sure you get to see this, so I'm just going to move a little further out here to make sure I'm in view when I do this, because it's quite low. I'll be picking up a back foot here. Oh, she don't like this. She don't like this halter. She really doesn't. She's a pretty good little horse, but she does express her opinion once in a while. And we haven't done anything with her today, so I don't know how this is going to work, how good she's going to be with her foot. But we're going to pick up a back foot here. And I'm just going to do what I said before. I'm just going to make sure I keep enough lead in my hand here that, you know, she can't spin around on me, hopefully. And not surprise her. Run my hand down the leg. And then pick up a foot. Okay. Now, that went pretty smooth. So I'm going to show you the next part, and we've never done this, so she might fuss a little. Let's see what happens. Because this is something that's pretty important when it comes to trimming or cleaning feet. You need to be able to hold the foot in a certain position that not only makes your job easier, but is much safer. And I'm going to explain, once I do it, I'm going to explain why it works. Now, she's a little concerned here. It's kind of windy today. No surprise around here. I think she'd be used to it by now. Actually, I think she is getting used to it. But I'm still doing new things, so I'm going to slide my hand down. Now I'm going to get on the inside of the leg. Oh, she's getting good. Okay. Now you see where my knee is going. Oh, she's fussing a bit. She doesn't like this. Okay, there. Now I've hooked my knee inside of her back leg here. I don't know if you got a good view on that, what I did there. Maybe I should just do it again. Pull her head a little further so we're more in the middle of the camera. Come on, dear. Yeah, I know you don't like that thing. There we go. Good girl. Good girl. There we go. Good girl. I'm going to repeat this again so you can see what I did. Because, and it doesn't hurt to do this because, you know, we're going to be doing this. Is we pick up a leg and then we kind of hook our leg inside of it. And you probably saw that. She's fussing a little bit. But this is what we're doing. We're hooking her leg on my leg. Now I'm going to explain why I did that. There's actually 2 safety factors there. Is because I'm right against her, she can't kick out to the side as easily. Much more difficult. And because I had her leg locked on my leg, she can't pull it forward and then kick out. The only kicking she can do is going to be pretty limited. And if she struggles enough to get her leg off of there, which hopefully I'm going to have a decent hold of it by that point, I'm going to have time to get out of the way. Yeah, because that's kind of important, is to be able to protect yourself. But I'm going to compare it to a human that, say, well, if you wanted to punch something or someone, we'll stick to something. If your arm is already fairly extended, you can't hit very hard. You have to recoil. You have to pull it back, then come forward. Back leg, same thing. In order to get maximum impact going back, it has to draw its leg forward. By locking it onto my leg like that, it can't pull it forward. Well, it'd be very difficult. And by the time it started struggling enough that it could actually get off my leg and do that, I can get out of the way. So it's a lot safer. And that's why it's important at all times you keep a good grip on the lead, keep it at a reasonable distance so that the horse can't spin around and get you with the back end. Because if they can actually pull their leg all the way forward, they can get a lot stronger kick. I can't say they aren't, you know, I'm not going to say they can't kick you if you do what I'm doing, but they can't kick you near as hard. And chances are you're going to come out of it okay. And by staying close into the horse, they can't kick very hard out to the side, same concept. If they can't draw it ahead and pull it in and all that before they kick out, you're a lot safer. Okay, and like I said, that was the very first time I've ever actually done that with her, and it actually didn't go too bad. She fussed a tiny bit, but not bad, and you know, that's good because we're going to have to do that when we trim her. That's exactly what we're going to be doing, and so it's good that we're doing this stuff ahead of time so we know exactly what we're going to get into. I've been picking up those back feet quite a bit, but I haven't locked them on my leg like that before, and I will be doing that. So that's something that she's going to have to experience. So it's a good thing I'm doing this today, and I'm probably going to do it a couple more times today. I'm going to do it on both sides, and I'm probably going to do it again tomorrow. And oh, this happens to be a long weekend, by the way, up here. The third day, I think I'm going to trim her. And based on the weather, it's kind of gray today. It's actually not horrible as far as temperature goes, but it's a little gray and a little breezy and wouldn't be the best day. And on the subject of trimming, well, I always say, you know, make things as comfortable as possible for the horse. Don't introduce it to too many new things at once. Try and minimize things one at a time. And it makes the horse far less stressed, far less likely to give you a problem. And that's what we're going to do. So when it comes time to trim, my original plan was to do it out in this area here. And I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to stick with that. We did take her into the barn, and she was reasonably willing to go in. But I thought, you know, I'm just reading her a bit, and you know, you could tell she wasn't 100% comfortable in there. So I thought, you know what? We're already doing something new. I'm not going to add to it. So I've decided I'm not going to do it in the barn. I am, in fact, going to do it out here where I had originally planned, and stick to that so that we don't introduce too many new things at once, because you don't want to do that. And like I say, we're already doing new things all the time, and trim's going to be a new thing. We don't need to have her in a place where she's not 100% comfortable in the first place. And lately the door's been closed on the end of the barn again, so I haven't been taking her in there. Can't do that today either. Well, I could go open the door, I suppose, if I wasn't so freaking lazy. But you know, it's not a convenient thing that we can just go ahead and do. And I started thinking about, you know what, it just doesn't matter. We're going to do it out here. You know, she's a lot more comfortable here than in there. She can see the other horses. She's out in the open. It's going to be much, much easier to do it out here. You know, it's going to be a new thing as it is, but I think we stand a pretty good chance. She's coming along real good. You know, like I said early on, you know, pick your battles. You know, if one thing seems to stress the horse a little bit too much, go to something else. And I don't think I mentioned it. I just said, you know, try something different. But I kind of alluded to it. I said, I'm going to do something that's going to lead up to that. So I did lots of desensitizing with the flag. I waved the flag around her. I cracked the whip around her. I waved it around, threw the rope over her back, all this stuff. And that all gets her used to having her legs handled because, well, even though you think, well, the feet, what the heck's that got to do with the flag? Two completely different things, really? No, not entirely. Because we still were doing things that she wasn't comfortable with, that she gradually learned that, you know what, no matter what I do, I'm not going to hurt her. I'm not going to freak her out to any great extent. You know, I'm just going to do things that, you know, whether it's throwing a rope over her like that or anything else I do, it's all stuff that she can handle. I'm not going to exceed her limits. So when it comes time to picking up a foot, it's really not a big deal. It's just a matter of, you know, grab a foot and pick it up. There it is. Simple as that. You know, she's that good, and boy, oh boy, does she need a trim. Ho, ho, ho. Yeah, we're definitely trimming her this weekend. Ooh, those are terrible. Yeah, those don't look good. I'm not an expert on this stuff, but those don't look good. You know. And I encourage you to do your own trims. But even if you don't, you know, all this stuff is still stuff you should be doing anyhow because you want the horse to be good with its feet. It makes your life easier when it comes to, you know, pick them up to clean them. It also makes your farrier's life a whole lot easier when they come to trim the horse, even if you don't do your own trims. But I strongly encourage you to do your own trims, even if you don't do them full time. You know, I've been trimming my own horses for about 15 years, and prior to trimming my own horses, I probably did about 300 hours of research, learning about trimming and the hoof anatomy and all this stuff. Honestly, I probably know more than some farriers, but I definitely do not know as much as some. And you'll be in the same situation as me. If you learn a bit, you can, you know, and it won't cost you anything. There's enough information online that you can learn about the hoof and how to trim without spending a penny. And the tools themselves that you will have to buy, they'll probably pay for themselves in about a half a dozen trims. So, you know, yeah, it's a lot of money to spend, but then if you figure out how much it costs per trim, if you're doing it yourself, yeah, the tools will pay for themselves. Another advantage of doing your own trims, you know, is anytime the horse has a chip, crack, something like that that needs to be addressed, smoothed out a little, something like that, touched up, you can do that yourself. You don't have to make a phone call and wait for somebody to show up that, you know, and quite honest, some of them, their schedules are booked pretty tight, and you know, it may be a week before they can even get out to you. Whereas if you have all your own tools and you know how to do it, you can do it that same day and it doesn't cost you anything. And calling a farrier out to just fix one hoof, well, that's not a good thing. You know, they might not even want to do it, and it would be very costly to pay to have one or two hooves touched up. Well, that brings me to another part of why you would want to do your own, even if you don't do it all the time. Here's something else I've noticed by doing my own, is the front and back ones, they tend not to grow the same. Well, okay, maybe they just don't wear the same. And the back ones, being that that's the propulsion end, they tend to wear down a little faster, or maybe they don't grow as fast. I'm not sure which, but what I have discovered is you can pretty much trim the front ones twice for every once the back ones get done. Now that's if you're like me and you like to stay on top of things and keep them well maintained, which I like to do. Most farriers won't come out for two hooves. They want to do all four. So if you do two, just the front ones, do it yourself. They're the easy ones. And then when the farrier does come out, he can do all four. So you only trim every second time, and you're only doing two at a time. That's not terribly hard, and well, it's a lot easier than doing all four, let me tell you, because trimming actually is fairly hard work. And so I don't blame you if you want to pay somebody else to do it. I just like to be able to look after my horses, and I don't like paying somebody else and making phone calls and hoping they show up and being here when they come, on and on. It's a lot easier if I do it myself, you know. But like you, if I run into a problem and I get a situation I'm not sure about, I'll call somebody. I'll make a phone call and ask for some advice, and most guys are pretty willing to take a look at situations and say what their opinion is. Whether or not I agree with them is irrelevant. I don't always. And then again, I don't think I agree with anybody all the time, but that's beside the point. It's one of those things, it's like they're at my disposal and I'm not too proud to ask for help. And I'm hoping you'll do the same thing too, even if you do your own trims. If you don't do your own trims, well, I don't blame you. It's hard work. And on the note of trimming, I've done a couple videos on the subject over the years, because I got a lot of respect for farriers, and I think they're just horribly under-respected, underappreciated, well, whatever. I've always thought they should be charging about twice of what they are, and a lot of people think, well, that doesn't make sense because they charge ridiculous amounts. Well, I'm going to say the same thing I've said before, and the only exception is by this point, I have no idea how much they even charge anymore. I'm sure the rates have gone up considerably lately. Just about everything's gone up considerably. But we'll use an imaginary number. We don't know what they're charging. I've seen some charging up around 65, something like that. And that was a little while ago. Maybe more now. I wouldn't be offended if they charged even more than that. I think they deserve it because, honestly, they're risking their life every time they work with a horse they don't know. Because even a small horse like this, if it happens to kick you in the wrong place, or the right place, however you want to look at it, a little horse like this could kill you. You know, that could be life or death. At the very least, it could end your career. And so I think that alone deserves a significant financial compensation. And then, of course, there's, well, they need a pickup truck to carry all their tools around in. And a well-appointed truck nowadays can cost you close to $100,000. Some are even over that, depending on what you get. I think at the very least, you're probably going to pay $40,000, $50,000, somewhere in that range, you know, for a bottom-end one. And then if they got, if they do shoeing as well, then they're going to have all the shoes, the forge, and the nails, and all this stuff. They get, and more tools too, because it requires extra tools to do that. You know, the forge and everything, and the propane to run it, and all that, all expenses. Their gas to get to your place. And a lot of people go, oh, but they charged, well, say $40. I don't think any charge that much anymore. I'm sure it's a lot more than that. But say $40, and it takes them 20 minutes because the guys that are do it a lot, they're good at it, and they can knock off a horse in 20 minutes, no problem. So you do the math, and you go, well, that means you can do 3 in an hour. That's $120. Holy crap, you can make $120 an hour? No, they don't make $120 an hour. Never, never, ever. They, you know, first off, unless you got all the horses ready to go, and they can go bang, 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 they're not going to do 3 in an hour. It's never going to happen. In many cases, they're only going to get to do one where they are, and then they got to drive to get to the next one. And sometimes on a bad day, they might only do one all day, you know, depending on how they're booked up. And then there's all their expenses on top of that. You know, I mean, the expensive vehicle, the insurance, all the tools, equipment. You know those leather things they wear? Those things are over $400. And they don't last forever. A good rasp. I have one, I think the last one I bought I paid $80 for. And the professionals probably use even more expensive ones than that. And I know for a fact that they wear out in just a couple weeks when they use them all the time. For my own personal use, one rasp would probably last me the rest of my life. And, well, for you, depending on how old you are, maybe you'll have to buy 2, maybe 3, at the most. I don't think it'd be more than that. But anyhow, so they're always buying new tools, they're buying equipment, they're paying for insurance, they're paying for gas. And at the end of the day, if they only trim one horse, man, they aren't even making minimum wage. So don't think that they're making a lot of money just because of what they charge and how fast they can trim. You're also paying for the risks they're taking. You're paying for their knowledge and their experience, and they're worth every single penny they charge, unless, of course, they're terrible. But in order to know whether or not they're any good, you've got to learn a little bit about trimming yourself. And that's why, even if you don't do your own trims, it's a good idea to learn a bit. That way, when your farrier shows up, you know whether or not he's doing a good job. So, anyhow, that's about it for today. I think that's as long as this one's going to be. And like I said, I think I'm going to start doubling up on videos. Instead of 1 a week, I'm going to start uploading 2 a week, because they're a little bit on the short side these days. And because, well, there's not a whole lot new to show you. You know, we just keep doing the same things over and over that we've been doing before. The desensitizing, picking up feet, asking her to move, back up, lead, whatever, all this good stuff. It's probably going to be a while before we do anything new. In fact, I'm trying to think, there was something else I was going to do this weekend, and I can't even remember what it was now. I guess it wasn't that important. What I do know is important is just spending time with her and making sure she understands the rules and that nothing bad happens when she's with me. As you see, she's quite relaxed and calm right now. Well, there's a reason for that. It's because of how we've been doing things. We've been going slow, taking our time and not stressing her out. So now she doesn't mind being with me. She doesn't care. She's not going to get worried about the whole situation or bothered by it or none of that stuff. So anyhow, we're going to go back to doing what we've been doing. The wind seems to have picked up a little bit. You see her mane flying around a bit. I'm going to turn the camera off, put my hood back up. It's not super cold out, but it's nice to cover my head up. Yeah, you have a good day. Go play with your horse. I hope you learned something today, and keep yourself safe, because not a lot of people grab a back leg the way I do. Most farriers do. I think they're a little bit smarter and more experienced when it comes to picking up feet. The average horse owner doesn't do that. Not many people I've seen do pick up a foot that way, but it is by far the safest thing to do with a back one, is hook it on your leg. Regardless of which side you're doing, your inside leg, put your knee in far enough that you can hook the back leg on, and man, that can really save you a lot of aggravation. It helps hold the leg up in place where you can work on it, and it also prevents you getting kicked at the same time. Well, reduces the risk. I won't say it prevents it. I mean, it's always possible you could get kicked. Use caution. Be careful. Don't push the horse too far too fast. And stay safe out there, okay? Have a good day. Bye now.